good afternoon, everyone. We're close to the finish line. Thank you so much for being here today. So my name is Jessie Hughes. I'm very lucky to be Leonardo's artist in residence. So as mentioned, I have a 10-year background in the creative industries, so the blend between art, screen, film, media, and tech. And last year, GenAI just did something, and I've been following tech trends for years and years. I was Goma's digital resident back in 2022. But GenAI, there's something different about it. And I was like, okay, what is going on and where do we move forward? Now, I recently made the news. Why Leonardo AI's Jessie Hughes is begging artists to use GenAI. I don't love the word begging. I'm going to change it to encouraging. And I believe there's very, very good reason to be encouraging artists to get behind this technology. And so that is what I'm here to show you today. Now, I studied screenwriting. I have a master's in screenwriting, and what was funny is I used words to describe what I see in my head. I think we have a room of creative people. We have these ideas and these visions and these thoughts in our head, and I used to have to write it into scripts. And now, I write what I see in my head into a prompt bar. This new way of working is something that as a child I used to just dream of, like, oh, but if only you could see what was in my mind, if only you could see. And with this technology, it really is coming to life. I saw this sketch on Facebook the other day. This is an artist who had just been, sketching in his notepad. I think he'd been having a discussion with his child about what this idea was. And very shortly after, someone that does not have technical 3D capabilities is able to generate an image that looks like this. Now, to me, that is the greatest gift an artist could ask for, is being able to have a new way of expressing ideas and bringing them to life. I mean, the community of GenAI is phenomenal. The work that we see regularly is truly just phenomenal work, which previously would have been incredibly hard to create as a single creator. We see it across all of these disciplines, and so people who have amazing taste for photography are able to bring these beautiful ideas to life. We see it in storytellers, so filmmakers being able to finally visualize and ideate these stories that they've been holding on to for years and years and years. And this can be created now by an individual, which previously you had to work for a studio, you had to be part of a studio, you had to have tens of thousands of dollars to be able to hire and create these things, and now creators are able to actually do it themselves. Recently, I'm sure you've seen people who follow it, this was created in Sora, which is a video platform. Now, I just want you, for clarification, guys, I made this deck on Wednesday. I made this on Wednesday. Today is Friday. Their competitor, Luma, has just come out with a publicly available video platform which exceeds anything that we've seen already. And then yesterday, SD3 came out. Yesterday, Leonardo Phoenix came out. When I talk about a space race in the world of GenAI, every single day I wake up to new updates which pushes our industry faster and faster and faster and faster. This entire thing is made with Gen, by the way. And so this next phase that we're heading into, this idea of creativity, and creativity, it is no longer limited by capital or by resource or even by technical training, nor is it limited by age. I teach workshops, I teach them to kids, I teach them to adults. I had a 67-year-old artist who had a 30-year creative discipline, and she was able to take her practice and really grow and iterate. So what's beautiful about these tools, if we think about AI as a field or industry, we would think it's very technical, you had to code or you had to do these things. That is not the case at all. These are incredibly intuitive interfaces that we're interacting with language, which is pretty spectacular. So this video, this was 2023, back in March. This kind of blew up the internet. It was obviously generated, the Pope in a really great jacket. And then we jumped to where we are today, with Airheads. That kind of really got the news. What I thought was really funny and clever about this creator was they worked with where the technology was at the time. This was a few months ago, and faces were really, really hard to get character consistency. So a very clever director was like, how do I solve that? I chuck a balloon there, have a beautiful story about this creative background. Then this came out this week. So this is Kling. This is the Chinese competitor to Sora. Again, completely generated video, phenomenally realistic. We've got NVIDIA came out with this one. So this, again, completely generated. So when I start to talk about like the speed and the pace of where we are heading, this is inevitable technology, just as a heads up, and this is the capability that we see today. What's cool is seeing the industry adopt and pivot. Now, I've been talking about this since last year. A lot of people were very scared and angry last year. This year, people are curious and seriously curious, and this change and pivot has been incredible to see the production and support that's going behind creators now. So yeah, Tribeca, they've introduced their Sora Shorts. Soon we're going to be seeing this across industries. Already I've seen like art festivals and all these different things. Now this is 2D. What we're moving into though, this came out, this is called Showrunner. It's interactive storytelling, so it's a direct competitor to Netflix. So no longer do you just have to sit and watch a story of an episode. You get to say, actually, I want that character to date that character. And all of a sudden, in real time, your story is being generated and changed. So what you're watching iterates and changes. So I think what's cool about this from a creative standpoint is the possibility for how we go forward is going to be phenomenal. I'm not going to get too much into spatial web, but this next era of when we go into what happens when our interactions aren't just 2D, but they are these like immersive things, and how all of these technologies kind of like come together and speak to each other. So as a heads up, yeah, this came out as a quote, Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI. So the technological progress that we make in the next 100 years will be far larger than we've made since we first controlled fire and invented the wheel. As somebody who works in this space, it feels like that every single day. We are exponentially, like this, experiencing change at the fastest rate in human history. This is also the slowest we're going to experience it for the rest of our lives. For people who work in tech, there's a thing called Moore's Law. Pretty much it just means our tech goes up, 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 up. And eventually, potentially, the singularity, where our tech is smarter than ourselves, etc. I'm not going to go sci-fi with this, but the reality is we are moving at a pace that feels exponential. And that is from a Wednesday deck being made to being outdated by Friday. So yeah, we have the agricultural age, the industrial age, the information age, and we believe we're moving into the creativity age. And this is an exciting time. In order to unleash creativity, we have tools, and we've done that forever. It's gone from paints to pencils to computers to typewriters, whatever you want to call it. This is currently how we're making. So if you are somebody who is a very good illustrator or a sketcher, this is the Leonardo, this is our platform, so you're able to sketch and iterate, and instantly your ideas can be brought to life in these hyper beautiful imagery. So that's one way of interacting. You've also got words, you've got so many ways of being able to create. So yeah, we have like inks, we have dyes, we have typewriters, cameras, computers. Now what I want to flag is every single time a new technology comes out on the scene, there is resistance, that's how things happen. But if you think about when the camera came about, people were furious because what were the painters going to do? You're going to take painters out of work. And then you look at cameras and we just think about the impact to the creative industries that cameras have allowed. We have an entire screen industry. We have entire new business models. So it's just thinking about understanding when there is an immense change with the technology. This is a disruptive technology. There's a difference between a technology which just comes on and adds, and there's technology which disrupts. GenAI is a disruptor, and so that means business models are going to change. And us as an industry, I want to make sure creatives are making the most of this incredible opportunity. And so our tools also change our ways of working. So it changes both how we go about making things, as well as new forms of creativity. So you have this idea of like the piano, right? The piano, it's hard, it's difficult, it's clunky, it's expensive. Then you turn it into a keyboard, and all of a sudden, the everyday person can make music. And that is more beauty in the world by an accessible tool. This little example, Talk to Me, that was by the Raka Raka Boys in Australia. So these were just creators. Now they made this, they used to make movies with iPhones and YouTube. These were kids of a YouTube generation who now go on to make Sundance Award-winning films which are like leading Australia's film industry. That wouldn't have happened if they didn't have access to democratized tools. So we have this idea of by making tools accessible, we democratize creativity. However, people don't like that because it's a threat to specialized skills. And I think especially in the arts community, you get the sense of but that's mine. And I think this is something that we all have to grapple with when we start to democratize access to skills. So just as a bit of a side note, so I have a 3-year design degree. Canva came out. Who in the room uses Canva? Assuming most of us, right. So all of a sudden, everybody can make design. I think that's a phenomenally excellent thing. I don't see that as a negative. I think it's a phenomenal thing. If somebody wants a great designer, they're going to go hire a designer. If somebody needs to make a pamphlet because they have to send something out for a business, then go for Canva. So this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's like it's good because we're able to get more skills and beauty into the world. Yeah, so this came out. I thought it was quite funny. It was an article by Elizabeth Goodspeed. She's the editor of It's Nice That, which is like a arts magazine. Anyway, she was saying that AI is making these things accessible, but you need to have taste. And I think this is funny as like a creative, because creatives are driven by composition, by story, by emotion, by beauty, these gorgeous things that make imagery gorgeous. She got pretty heated in it. She goes on to say that AI imagery is loud. It's not the technology that makes AI imagery lousy, but superficial creative ambitions. So she really did have a blow at it. But what I thought was interesting about it is this idea that creatives are still always going to be the best storytellers. Like that's the whole point, is you have these beautiful things you want to get out there and express. So that is why I so deeply encourage it. There was this awesome exhibition by Vogue. So Vogue said, okay, well, what can we do if we put these tools in the hands of creators? There was like people who used to be award-winning photographers and makeup artists, and the work that they were able to create was stunning. This is Separate Things by Matt. Like this imagery is so emotive and beautiful. Doesn't matter how it was created if you have an end result. And so this is like some of the conversations that we're having at the moment. Domain expertise is the other really interesting thing, where I have people in the room who are domain experts in the creative industries. So the CEO of NVIDIA, he had this talk that went out. He said, the miracle of AI is that people who understand domain expertise can utilize this technology. So this is the difference between democratizing things and having specialists. So people that understand how to solve domain problems, say in biology or education or in manufacturing, they now are equipped with the power of AI. So, and what's even cooler is the programming language is human. Like I said, you do not need to be able to code. It is by natural language these days, which means it is a tool for absolutely everybody. This is the miracle of AI. It is a tool for everybody. So now we get into 10xing workflows, which is really the beauty and magic of something like Gen. This great quote came out of Think Place. So those who wield the power of Excalibur wield the power of an entire army. And this is where we're moving to these days with Gen. So your toolkit is now that of 5 people. I can now do all of these phenomenal other capacities, which I was previously limited by. I went to Goma the other day and I saw this gorgeous cutout of an animation. And I love animation. I wrote an animated series. And you look at these pictures, and this is how we used to do animation. And the idea of this shift of just how we move and change things, this is just how we create. Creators adapt. We adapt and pivot and learn as our tools get better and better and better. It means we get to make more and make better. So Netflix, they have this thing called a media understanding platform. It's fascinating. I love looking at it. But in seconds, they were able to create what normally would have taken people days and days to do. So previously, a video editor, to be able to make like a film clip, like a trailer for a film, they would have to watch 10 hours of the season, write down when they saw the car crash or when they saw the kiss or when this happened or whatever else. Now, Netflix have this media understanding platform where their entire series is just sitting there, and they type in, can you grab me the scene, like a high energy scene? And all of a sudden the AI can go and be like, yep, a bomb went off in this scene, this happened, this happened there. Or they can look for scripts. So if they know like the screenwriter had a really good line, they could be like, oh, can you get that scene where Abby said something? And all of a sudden, you've got it there. So the way of working, they're still creating beautifully, but the way that they're going about it is so much more efficient than sitting there for 10 hours and hours and hours. They can actually now talk so that their creative process is different. So yeah, this idea of AI-assisted workflows, I used to say AI-assisted. I've changed it to AI-amplified. So this new AI-amplified way of working. This new normal, they already are. If it's not already part of your workflow, that ChatGPT is just part of what you do, it 100% will be. And I encourage it to be. It should be. It's there as a tool for you to be able to work better and faster and smarter. These are, I don't know if anyone's used Photoshop, like the lasso tool. I remember when I used to have to edit and you would be like trying to cut out a horse or something. literally sit there for 20 minutes with this little lasso tool and you'd mix 1 pixel. You would just miss 1 pixel and you'd have to start the whole thing from scratch. And you'd just be like, oh, fuck it. So it's just like this process, whereas now I go in and I'm like, I would like the horse, please. And it instantly grabs me the horse. And oh, I'd like this and instant. So this is when we have intelligent technology. My process as a creator is now so much more efficient. It's not efficient for me to spend 20 minutes trying to cut out a horse. That doesn't make sense. That limits my creativity. Now I'm able to work at speed, at pace, because we're working intelligently together. Cloud computing, I think this is quite a good comparison. So cloud computing changed how we collaborate. People who use Figma or Google Docs or whatever you use, like previously you used to do it all separately and it was different. Then cloud computing came in and how we worked as an entire society changed. Generative AI is changing how we as an entire society are going to be working. Okay, cool. So I actually argue that with GenAI, we work more creatively. I think it actually enhances our capacity to be more creative. I'm going to bring to Leonardo now. Okay, so for those who haven't used Leonardo AI, it's a comprehensive content production suite powered by Gen. So if you've seen like any sort of image generation, so maybe like DALL-E, Midjourney, any of those ones, or if you've seen any of the video ones, so Sora and God, whatever the other ones are, like Photoshop has Firefly, whatever. Leonardo has all of these different things in one place, which is why it's this suite where you're able to take a project from start to the finish. Now the initial goal is that they wanted, so the founders, they used to run a game studio, and making games is very, very, very expensive and it takes a lot of time. So they saw this opportunity of, okay, why are we spending months creating an asset 100 times over? So that's how the idea came about. Now, we were founded 18 months ago, just as a heads up. We have 16 million users. This is in 18 months, 16 million users. We went from 6 employees to 110, and we have generated more than 1 billion images, and that's in a year and a half. More excitingly, and my favorite thing, this is an entirely Australian-founded company. This is an Australian company which is competing with Silicon Valley's biggest players. We're talking about billions of dollars going into Silicon Valley at the moment. We have an Australian startup. We got 50 mil investment. We're currently Australia's fastest growing SaaS company, which is just like, it is unbelievable that an Australian company is competing at the pace that we're competing with on an international scale. We also have the world's 3rd largest Discord community. So we have a massively engaged community of creators. Now these are creators from like individual makers all the way through to enterprise and business. We have people who work across film, screen, advertising, media, marketing, whatever you can think of that requires content. People are getting involved and figuring out how they can put it into their workflows. Also, we have API technology, which means businesses or other partners can actually use Leonardo's API, so use our capabilities and put that technology into their tools, which is really, really awesome. I didn't press play. Anyway, wasn't that working? No. There we go. Pretend it's exciting. Anyway, every day, we've got more than 6 million assets are being created on our platform. These numbers go up again week by week. We just launched, as in yesterday, we just launched our own foundational model. Now, for anyone who works in tech, having your own foundational model is absolutely massive. It's probably our biggest launch to date, actually. And so what that means is we're independent, we're able to create our own, we're able to set our own rules. This model is unbelievable. Previously, with Gen, text has been really, really hard, so like you get distorted. Phoenix is able to do text. I wish there was pictures in this, but again, I made this on Wednesday and it's outdated. And so the fact that we're able to have text, like perfect text, is just so exciting. We operate in more than 189 different countries, so a truly global dominance, which is insane. For all of these different industries, like screen is something that's really, really fun to me, but it works across all of these different industries. Lol, I was meant to be going to Cannes tonight. It all got cancelled. I'm upset. But anyway, this is something like our character reference. So the ability to take assets and immediately convert them into different capacities. Like, I think this is something to be massive as we move forward, is this idea of personalization. And personalization is so easy, to the effect of dragging and dropping my face, and instantly we're able to create these different assets. This was a little workflow I taught recently about a personalized marketing campaign, and I could drop in different employees' faces, and all of a sudden they had their own personalized assets across the company, which was really, really cute. Again, there's so many different ways of working on Leonardo. We have like 6 main tools. So you've got like image gen, which is pretty familiar. Most people will have tried image gen before. But we also have tools like this, which is real-time canvas. So being able to, in real time, create and iterate and make amazing things, which is beautiful. What else have we got covered in here? Yeah, so you can also do things like your own fine-tuned models. Again, this is getting a bit more techie, but your own fine-tuned models, your own LoRa's. So if you have your own content, which I know a lot of you in the room have these massive databases. We were talking about a museum who has like 90,000 assets scanned. You can train models on these on your databases. These are your own. We also have Leonardo for Teams, so for enterprise level, which is like security and privacy, which is massive to enterprise. So you're able to create using your own content, which is beautiful in terms of like the opportunities for where we could go with this different stuff, which I think would be really exciting. Okay, I think we get into most of the nitty gritty. But yeah, I think all of this is made without any touching a piece of 3D software, which is wild. Okay, so yeah, character consistency, just more stuff. But the image, you're like, what's cool about Leo is this idea of creative control. And I think something like last year when I got into Gen, it felt like you would sit at a computer, you'd type something and hope for the best. You're like, okay, like, let's see where this goes. With Leo, it's like, hey, this is what I want, let's make it happen. And it has kind of that fidelity or ability to use it back and forth, which I think is really helpful for being able to create what you really want. Yeah, so for everyday creators, you're able to bring your ambitions to life. This is everything from your kids to like you want to make a cute birthday present for them, like make a book for them. Like I've got a neighbor who wrote a little book herself, and now I can go and turn that into this entire imagination. I could turn it into like a mini movie for her if I wanted to. And then Leonardo for Teams. So Teams is epic for more of that larger level, like a lot of people working together collaboratively. I can see what you're working on, I can see how you made it, and we can kind of iterate and work together, which I think is really helpful and unique. A little unique, different point. Yeah, so 10xing workflows. This is some of the game dev stuff which we're getting into. Actually, I think some of you are in games. But yeah, there's really different workflows. So this is across entertainment, marketing, blah, blah, blah. Anyone who needs content, we're able to generate some really interesting stuff. And this is completely photo real, and I think this is something that we're going to be seeing. I mean, it happened literally yesterday, like footage that is just beyond imaginable. So things are going to change, business models are going to change very, very fast. I would encourage you to stay abreast of what is going on. Some film things, which is cool. Right, let's skip ahead. Okay, I'm in a room of creators, so let's get into the goodies. Our tools are only as good as the people who use them. So we are really doing everything we can to get top-tier creatives playing with this stuff. So we have a thing called the Leonardo Creator Program. If you are a creative who is doing some really cool stuff, we would love to invite you in. You get like a 50,000 free tokens. You're able to access early access to our tools, so get ahead of like what else there in industry. We work with poets, architects, filmmakers, everybody who's doing everything. We've done some really awesome collaborations. So Karis, they just did this like image film competition. So these are some of our winning entries, which were just absolutely beautiful. Like this work is top tier. It's absolutely beautiful work. So we're really excited to be supporting that. Curious Refuge, they're like a filmmaker thing. So we teach schools, so we try and teach people this new area of filmmaking using Gen. We just ran the world's first esports filmmaking hackathon over in Vegas. It was very exciting. And so 2 artists competed back to back with like limited time of like what they could bring to life. So this real-time rendering is really something that's fun to play with. We've got a film competition on at the moment, which is awesome. So we really do encourage creators to jump on board. Okay, in closing, this is a whole new era, and it really is a whole new era. It's been cooking for a little while, but in the last few months, something's happened where it's just moving at a pace that none of us could have really expected. So I would encourage you to get on board kind of now. And we are working with everyone across all of these different industries, which has been very exciting. It's ironic that this slide was in here because, yeah, last month Sora, last week Kling, this week Leo, yesterday, was it Luma, blah, blah, blah. Everything changes again and again and again. It's a very exciting time to work for an AI startup. So yeah, you've got this idea of we have words to image, and image to 2D, and then 2D to 3D, 3D to motion, motion to interactive, interactive to spatial. Like this idea of how and where and how we express stories is just unbelievable. I can't imagine where we're going to be in 5 years of how we experience stories, and I hope that creatives are at the forefront of driving those experiences. This is a little experiment I just saw on LinkedIn. I thought it was kind of cute, and it was just playing with Lego, like just physically being able to play with tactile Lego, a camera set up, and immediately generates in real time. You think what a museum with, like, I don't know, 100K could make for those users. You have kids go in, play with Lego, and all of a sudden the entire environment can change and iterate depending on those images. So there's some really cool stuff underlying it. We're storytellers, we make art. These are just new tools to be able to do that. In closing, this is just like a student I'm mentoring at the moment. She's got a 30-year tactile art practice, and jumped on Leo, and all of a sudden is just making these fun little experiments in a night. And so I think when we get creatives embracing stuff, there's going to be a really cool opportunity. AI is a new interface, and if you don't like it, you can start wearing these rings. And I thought this was funny, is criminals will start wearing extra prosthetic fingers to make surveillance footage look like it's AI generated, and thus inadmissible as evidence. So, there's workarounds, we've got ways around things. Oh yeah, and we've got a bunch of freebies for you if you want it. That's a QR code, you'll get 5,000 free tokens. It saves you, I don't know, some money, and it's fun to play with. But I'll leave that up there in closing. Thank you so much. Just embrace it. We've got an exciting phase ahead, and I think the earlier you get aware of what is happening, it's just going to prepare you for where we are going as an industry. Okay, thank you. Cool.